Hey guys, Reuben Williams here, founder of SportsGrad. Back in the day, I landed a job at Cricket Australia on the Monday after my final university exam. And then 3 years later, when COVID hit and my job was made redundant, rather than looking for work for months on end, I was headhunted into a role that doubled my salary. I'm not telling you this to brag, I'm telling you because there is a method to it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. For example, Lucas Viana, one of our members, called the SportsGrad method a cheat code, and another member, Sasha Brahim, she called it magic. And honestly, I'll take that. Now, most people spend years trying to break into sport and never figure out why it is not working. And so the reason that this podcast exists is to change that. Every week, I'm going to share some real moments from real coaching calls that are unfiltered, unscripted, so you get a taste for the kind of work that has helped people land over 800 roles in sport and counting. If you're ready to stop guessing and start moving in the right direction and go after the career that you've always wanted, apply for the SportsGrad Method program at sportsgrad.com.au. Now, let's get into it. Staying top of mind is the last part that I want to talk about, and it comes back to the headhunted system. I think I showed this graph to you the other week, but this is basically the results with regard to views per post for all my LinkedIn posts between 2020 and 2023. So every single line represents a time that I tap my balloon above the ground to say, hey, I'm here. And so when you are going about your headhunter system and think about creating that online presence for yourself, that's when you are keeping that balloon above the ground. And what that means is should I create a relationship with someone, at the start date here? And then I go tap, 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 tap. They are going to remember me in a more meaningful way the entire way through. And then if I meet, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 10 people who have had a coffee catch up with, and, I might go through the process of doing, this for each of them to start with. But then over the course of 3 or 6 months, I can't keep texting, what's becoming dozens and dozens of people. So the way that I can stay top of mind with them and keep them up to date at scale is actually just continuing to share updates or share what I'm doing in the world. And that means that, should you actually bump into them down the track, your conversations don't start with, hey, how are you? They start with oh, hey, Reuben, I saw you ran a SportsGrad meetup last week. How did it go? Eleanor, I saw that you just, recently analyzed a bit of data on the Canberra Raiders. That was really cool. What did you learn from it? Your conversations start from a much richer place when you've actually got updates to share and people can see that. So yes, we want to help you help you guys build relationships that are going to serve you in the next few months, but also make sure you're networking to play the long game as well. And I forget who asked it, but someone asked who are the types of people that you should be networking with? And the 70-20-10 split framework kind of works really well for not only the type of content you might want to post, but also the kinds of people you want to meet. So if you want to go all out and just meet people who are going to help you get your next job in the next couple of months, be my guest. That makes total sense. But if you want to think about, a few different time horizons, you might want to think about, who are some networks that you can grow that might help you in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years or in the next 3 years, because those are going to be different types of people, For example, meeting with a fellow SportsGrad member, for example, may not be in a position to hire you immediately, but you never know where you're going to end up. And so some of you know Nathan Peroni, who was the first ever SportsGrad member. I think on the first time we ever got a video camera out at a meetup, and we asked him why did you join SportsGrad? He said well, I'm here to get a job, but also the value of this network could become anything over the next 10 years. And we might be doing deals together or hiring each other. And so, connecting with your peers is a great reason to set yourself up for the long term in the future. So when you're going about your network, think about, who you might want to be working with in the future, who may want to do business together, who may want to hire, and even who might be able to give you tickets as well. It doesn't hurt to know people in the right sport who can give you access to that. Hopefully, I've given you a few tactics on how you can kind of create the right impression so that, you're not going in blind, you're going in with a plan, you're not going in a way that's going to get you dismissed, you're going in a way that's going to get you remembered for a decade. And that will set your career up for a long, long time to come if you just kind of continue to keep planting these seeds. A couple of pro tips to remember with this. Number one is make sure you show up as a job, how you show up as a job hunter is part of your interview. So for example, like, you might be meeting them for coffee just to kind of pick their brain, but really like they're going to keep you in mind and it's going to act as a pseudo interview. When you guys meet your industry mentors as well, like, yes, they're there to help you as well, but in a roundabout way, they're also kind of interviewing you because they're thinking about, do I want to keep M Turner top of mind? Should I, have a role in the position? And, do I want to hire chicken at the same time? Who knows? Second one is make it easy for them to say yes. This is probably the one that causes the most amount of people to get left on scene or, not responded to. People send clunky messages that, drop off. Make it easy for them to say yes. Book a meeting within, 2 or 3 messages max. And that's how you'll actually get time in the calendar. Which leads me to number 3, actually send the calendar invite. Can't tell you how much people appreciate it when they just don't have to do that extra step of like, opening up another page or an app, typing the details. If you can do that for them, it's just a really courteous thing to do. Number 4, do your preparation. To separate yourself from 99% of job hunters takes about 10 minutes of prep work. And now you've got a framework, keep building on it, practice on your friends, practice on your parents, practice in your current meetings. And by the time by the time game time rolls around and you're meeting, your dream boss, you'll be in a very good position to nail it. 5 and 6, arrive early, do the basics right, ask for advice or a recommendation, follow up. That's how you'll just start to develop a really natural and importantly, strong mentor relationship. And then finally, reconnect in 6 months' time. You don't need to reconnect, every month, even 2 months, even 3 months is still a bit soon for some people, but, maybe 6 months, just be like, hey, how you going? And then catch up again. But the way that you can afford to not reach out to someone in 6 months' time is by doing that immediate follow-up and then staying top of mind through your LinkedIn content. All right, guys, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed that and got something out of it. If you want to learn directly from me and other SportsGrad coaches who are working directly in the industry, then jump into the SportsGrad Method program. Once you're inside, you'll also get access to the entire SportsGrad Method curriculum that comes with a 90-day roadmap so you know exactly what to do next. There is a step-by-step system to this. You do not have to think of what to do. We have thought of it all for you. Plus, you can tap into the SportsGrad network and get introductions to the people that might be hard to meet for you at the moment. Plus, you'll be surrounded by the wonderful SportsGrad community who are all helping each other get closer to their goals as well. So the results speak for themselves. Have a look at the website if you want to check it all out, but we'd love to see you inside and receive your application. See ya.